Mom has passed away. Please transfer $30,000 for the funeral expenses.
What? No way. I was confused. Because standing right next to me was my supposedly deceased mother-in-law. Moreover, he abruptly hung up. Then, my mother-in-law casually suggested a surprising idea. I have a good plan. Ignoring my confusion, she started to lay out a certain plan.
Let's go confront him.
Encouraged by her words, I took action to confront my husband. My name is Emily. I married my husband, Mike, who is 5 years younger, when I was 32. Mike, who was a bit clueless but lovable, was what you'd call a lovable character.
Emily, please.
Whenever he smiled and asked, I couldn't refuse anything he requested. Though his slightly careless nature was a flaw, his presence always brightened the atmosphere and made him a mood maker. In contrast, my mother-in-law, Martha, was very straightforward. We didn't live together, but she had a slightly intimidating aura. Apparently, my husband had always been uncomfortable around his mother.
You don't have to force yourself to get along with her.
He even told me that. Even so, I am your wife here. I couldn't just follow Mike's words, and I was full of anxiety about how to get along with her.
Mike has always lived with us, so he can't do many things. He might cause you trouble, Emily.
This is what my mother-in-law said when she suddenly called me after the wedding. At that time, Mike was out with friends, so I was alone. Not knowing how to respond, I just said, "No, it's not like that," and fell silent.
I know it's my fault for not raising him better. So, please consult me if anything happens.
I was happy to hear such kind words from my mother-in-law, who seemed so different from her appearance and aura. I didn't mention this phone call to Mike, thinking it wasn't necessary. For a while after the wedding, we lived peaceful days, but as time went by, my husband's carelessness began to stand out more and more. This is what his mother was talking about. Every time I saw his actions, I thought so. He often left his clothes and socks lying around and didn't clean up his dishes after eating. Put this in the washing machine and this in the sink. I repeatedly told Mike every day.
Oh, sorry. But can't the person who notices do it? Please, Emily.
I wasn't sure if he was ignoring it or what, but it didn't seem to sink in at all. If I don't notice, the house will be a mess. Is that okay?
You're responsible, Emily, so it's fine. Right?
His innocent smile made me feel it was useless to say anything more, and I couldn't insist any further. Moreover, this was still considered rather cute. My husband was often late and frequently broke promises. For Mike's birthday, why don't I cook a feast and celebrate at home?
Sounds great. I love your cooking, Emily, so I'm looking forward to it.
On the day, I prepared his gift, made a luxurious meal, and eagerly awaited his return. However, despite it being his usual time to come home, there was no sound of the front door opening. This is strange. He said he'd be back early. I decided to call Mike. No matter how many times I called, he didn't answer, and eventually, it went to voicemail. What happened? Mike didn't contact me even once, and he came home early the next morning.
Emily, I'm sorry. I didn't call and it's so late.
Sensing my displeasure, he apologized as soon as he saw me. I was worried. I thought something might have happened. I was so anxious.
I'm sorry. There was a problem at work, and I had to stay up all night. It was so busy I couldn't check my phone.
If that's the case, I understand. Though I understood, I was still bothered by the fact that he couldn't even send a quick message. From now on, please at least send a text if you're going to be late.
Got it?
We agreed on that, but although he started messaging, his late returns became more frequent. Then, one day, I checked our joint savings account and noticed money was frequently being withdrawn. We had started saving together after getting married, and since I had a better income, I was the one who usually deposited more. Meanwhile, Mike's contributions were inconsistent, highlighting his carelessness once again. Hey, did you withdraw money from our savings?
Well,
Mike seemed to realize he was caught and avoided my gaze. When I pressed him, he admitted, actually, he needed money for a paid skill development course at work. Don't you think it's unfair to use it without asking? You should have discussed it with me. When I spoke sternly, Mike looked downcast.
I thought I could repay it once the training was over and my salary increased.
His hesitant explanation made me suspicious. Excuses again. I wanted him to be more responsible with money than anything else. This led to some tension between us. Around this time, I started focusing more on his negative traits. But, thinking that we were married and should appreciate each other's good points, I tried to change my mindset. Mike is kind and gentle. However, the seed of distrust and frustration kept growing and occupied my thoughts. I should talk to Martha. When I contacted my mother-in-law, she said,
I was about to invite you for shopping.
She made time immediately, and we met up. Since Mike was working that day, I didn't mention my outing with her. While we were shopping, I got a call from Mike, who was supposed to be at work. Thinking it might be an emergency, I quickly answered. What's wrong? Aren't you at work?
Mom passed away. Please transfer $30,000 for the funeral.
What? What do you mean? I was shocked and speechless at the unexpected news. Seeing my reaction, Martha looked puzzled.
Just do it, okay?
He said and abruptly hung up. As I stood there stunned, my mother-in-law asked, What's wrong? I snapped back to reality and told her about the call. But you're right here. Could it be a scam? Thinking this, I checked the call log, and it was indeed from Mike. I was even more confused and decided to call him back.
Wait a moment.
Then, she took my phone.
I have a good idea. Let's give him $30,000.
What? Martha casually said something surprising and began discussing a plan with me, despite my confusion. I see.
Let's confront him.
Thus, our plan began. While waiting for my husband to come home, I prepared the $30,000 he had asked for.
Haven't you got the money ready yet? I need you to transfer it quickly.
2 hours after the first call, Mike called again, sounding impatient. Sorry, it's a large amount, so I haven't gotten it yet. I should have it ready by tomorrow.
Got it. Just make sure you do. And I won't be home tonight because I'm meeting with the funeral director.
Once again, he abruptly ended the call. Despite my concerns, I resumed my preparations calmly. The next day, as soon as my husband came home, he rushed over to me.
Is the money ready?
He kept asking about it. Someone I trust will bring it later, so don't worry.
Who?
I can't say yet. But first, we need to talk. I turned to face Mike, looking at him seriously. He looked at me with suspicion. What caused your mom's death? I want to see her and say goodbye.
Emily, you shouldn't see her. It was an accident, and her condition is really bad. You'd be shocked.
But I need to attend the funeral as her daughter-in-law. Even though I said this, he kept insisting I shouldn't, without providing any details. At that moment, the door between the living room and the adjoining room suddenly opened.
Tell me what state I'm in.
Standing there was my mother-in-law.
Mom? Emily, what's going on?
Wow, Martha. You came back to life. While I put on a theatrical act, Martha slowly approached Mike.
Here's $30,000. I never thought I'd pay for my own funeral while alive.
She handed him a heavy envelope, her eyes teary.
Oh, thanks.
I thought to myself, how stupid can he be, but kept it to myself. Martha also turned her face away from Mike for a moment, probably stifling a laugh.
By the way, you used a good picture for my memorial photo, right?
Yeah.
Her intensity made Mike step back. Martha, wouldn't it be nice to have a clear picture like this? I quickly held out a photo.
Yes, a picture where my face is clear. Wait, isn't this Mike?
When Martha took the photo and looked closely, she was astonished. Yes, that's him.
Who's the woman with heavy makeup next to him?
She's Mike's mistress. It was a photo of Mike entering a neon-lit motel with a woman. Mike, left out of the conversation, looked confused but snatched the photo from Martha when he heard mistress.
What? How?
He muttered, but I ignored him and showed Martha another photo. Here's another one.
Oh my! What is this?
Mike grabbed it from us too, sweating as he saw it was a close-up of him grinning with the woman. Since his late returns, I had suspected Mike of cheating. I followed him after work, searched his room for evidence, and gathered information bit by bit. This woman is Mary, who works at a nightclub, right? You spent a lot on her.
No. I don't know anything about that.
He was clearly panicking, his eyes darting around. This isn't all the evidence. I have plenty more. I presented receipts from luxury stores, photos of him leaving those shops with bags, and printed emails. I even had pictures of him entering payday loan offices. He had likely used our savings and taken loans to spend on his mistress. Seeing his shameful, careless behavior made me feel only disdain. Mike fell silent as he looked at the evidence.
You needed money for this woman. That's why you pretended I was dead and demanded money from Emily.
What a terrible person. Truly the worst. Mike, feeling cornered by me and his mother, glared at us.
How does Mom even know about the $30,000?
He pouted angrily. Did you think you could fool me with such a call? You underestimated me.
But Emily hates my mom, right? So I thought you wouldn't meet her and wouldn't find out.
When did I ever say that? I've always admired and relied on her. Mike must have assumed I shared his feelings about his mother. Not that I was complimenting him, but this was so typical of him. By the way, when you called, I was out shopping with her.
So, you and Mom pretended to be fooled and set me up?
He tried to defend himself but muttered, "That's so mean." He probably thought it was a whisper, but we heard it clearly. Ignoring his comment, Martha smiled at him.
Oh, don't say such nasty things. It was my idea to teach you a lesson.
No way.
I had also talked to Martha about Mike's affair that day. When he called, she saw the evidence I had shown her and deduced.
This call is related to his affair.
After thinking for a bit, she came up with, I have a good idea. So, she planned, and I executed, the ultimate team effort to bring him down. So, will you divorce me? I handed him the divorce papers with my signature.
What?
And I'll be asking for alimony. He looked down, then suddenly raised his head.
Okay. I'll use this $30,000 for alimony. Then I'll marry Mary.
He declared triumphantly. That money wasn't yours to begin with. He reluctantly handed me the envelope from his mother.
I still prefer a young, cute girl. You're just a walking wallet. Nothing else good about you.
His rude words made me furious, but I smiled like Martha. You can have that money as a property settlement.
Really? Cool.
He hugged the envelope tightly. But alimony is separate. I expect your sincerity.
Yeah. Sure.
He seemed deflated by my unexpected response.
I'll pay up. Mary will help, so I'll get it together soon.
He grinned, imagining his future with his mistress. To deliver the final blow to him, my mother-in-law and I exchanged silent nods.
Mike, sorry to ruin your fun, but can you listen to this?
Huh? What is it?
My mother-in-law took out her phone from her pocket and started playing a recording. Hearing it, my husband seemed very confused and said, "Wait, what?" It was the voice of his mistress, Mary. While I was preparing the money, my mother-in-law had gone to meet her. Mary was heard saying,
Mike is handsome, but he's stingy and cheap.
followed by a nasal laugh. Moreover, Mary said,
I had no idea he was married. The physical chemistry was good, but a guy who cheats is the worst.
Mike's face turned pale, and he started trembling at her words.
This is a lie. Mary wouldn't say such things. Mom must have forced her.
These are her own words. And it's not done yet, so listen until the end.
There's more. Maybe she's just pretending and will confess her love for me.
His naive thoughts made both my mother-in-law and me smirk.
Let's see. Hear for yourself.
As my mother-in-law resumed the recording, Mike eagerly awaited the so-called love confession. But what came from the phone was,
I'm going back home to find a wealthy man through matchmaking.
her cheerful voice said. Mike's expression changed drastically at those words. I had to stifle my laughter.
This is reality. Got it? It's different from your fantasies.
Mike's eyes welled up with tears as his mom delivered the final blow.
Mom, this isn't true, right? Please say it's not.
I'll tell you as many times as needed. It's reality.
No way. How about coming with me to Mary now and convincing her?
Are you stupid? It's over.
Crying to his mother didn't help, and she cut him off sharply. He then turned to me, seeking sympathy.
Emily, can you reconsider the divorce?
After all this?
Please. Emily, please?
He clasped his hands and tilted his head in a pleading gesture. In the past, I might have given in to this, but I was fully awake now. Sorry for not being young. But I can't stay with a man who lies about his mother's death and cheats to spoil his mistress, I said, pushing Mike away. He muttered, "No way," and collapsed in a daze. Thinking it was over, my mother-in-law and I exchanged a handshake, but my husband suddenly stood up.
I have to return it. Today's the last day.
He shouted and rushed off with the $30,000 envelope. Wait, you need to check what's inside. My voice didn't reach him.
Well, let it be. It'll be funny.
True. My husband was probably heading to a payday loan office to pay off his debt. But the envelope contained a bundle of paper cut to the size of bills, prepared by me. It was a painstaking task, but necessary. I could imagine him panicking there, but it was no longer my concern. Later, we finalized the divorce. I demanded $20,000 in alimony for the affair. It seemed he had no money and had to borrow from another dubious lender to pay. He reportedly presented the bundle of paper at the first loan office, only to be thoroughly scolded when the contents were revealed. My former mother-in-law, Martha, also cut ties with him. When he cried, "Don't be mad over something like this," Martha replied,
Your mother is supposed to be dead, right? Isn't that fine?
She ignored him. He apologized repeatedly, but she never responded. All of this was his own doing. As for me, I'm living every day to the fullest, with work as my passion. I'm striving to become the first female manager in my 30s at my company. I occasionally meet with Martha for lunch, sharing our updates like good friends. Looking forward to a long and fulfilling life ahead, I plan to live true to myself. How did you like this story? Please subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video.